sunny and hot. And I think if I told you 2 weeks from now it'd be sunny and hot, I'd be right.
Penetrating heat, extremely oppressive, muggy, and there just was no break from it.
I was already kind of, was mentally prepared as you can be for 15 months, but I didn't realize how long it was until we got there.
Well, Iraq stinks. Anyone that's ever been there knows exactly what I'm talking about. Both the fob and out in the countryside and in the cities, they have it is a very distinct smell. American Southwest, after it rains, you smell the dirt. It's a little bit like that. It's dirty. It's impoverished.
Pretty austere and robust conditions, and very hardened people, very hardened country.
You look at their history, and throughout history, this is a region that's been conquered, reconquered, conquered, reconquered, conquered, reconquered by a multitudes of different armies. It's like you have something ingrained in these people, and they want, like I think, what anybody else wants, and that's to live their lives, take care of their families, and raise their children to have better opportunities than themselves.
Soldiers patrol the city of Tarmiya, Iraq. The patrol is like many throughout Iraq, as coalition and Iraqi forces work to bring security to the country.
It was a surge, and we deployed over to Iraq, and the mission was taking areas and trying to control them from Al-Qaeda.
We operate in a town called Tarmiya, which is located 20-30 kilometers north of Baghdad, and was kind of a hotbed for Al-Qaeda activity. When we arrived, I think it's safe to say that the enemy controlled the area. I mean, we were walking into their turf. The living conditions were horrible when we got there. We were in a concrete building. The building was kind of like a one-floor elementary school, but very small.
And then over time, our unit, Charlie Company 49, force protection. We just took force protection in the night because we couldn't work during the day. There was snipers, everything bad that you could possibly think of.
There was no electricity, there was no running water, and the mortar threat was so high that to go to the bathroom, they had to wear all of their body armor and everything in 120-degree heat, which the logistics of that is very disconcerting.
I was afraid for my guys, yeah. And then at some points, the school itself was orientated, had windows that were orientated to the city where we were taking our hits. I mean, they were only maybe 3 feet by 3 feet windows, but enough to get some type of, something in there that probably could throw some shrapnel down on the soldiers that were sleeping.
I mean, these kids went out on patrol for 8-10 hours a day in 120-degree heat, and they come back, and what do you have to come back to? Is a 120-degree building where you could just, take your gear off, but it's still 120 degrees, and drink some warm water and eat an MRE, and that's about it.
I would say at the beginning it was about 25% force, about 75% trying to figure out who's who around the area. As you relieve a unit, they give you most of the information on personalities, the sphere of influence that's around the area. It's kind of the buzzword for that, the guy who runs it. And of course you want to meet that guy, see what, try to develop a relationship with him and see, what the area is all about.
So you're dealing with a large, homogeneous, dislocated population that is poor and unemployed, which kind of becomes the perfect recruiting ground for an insurgency that's looking to create the perception that the Americans in a Shia-led government are unable to provide them the basic tenets of what a government should provide, so therefore you turn to us as the alternative, and that manifests itself into violence and all sorts of other things.
The IED is the weapon of choice in Iraq. It's very well known. There's many different types, and we trained a lot to react to IED, find IEDs, reduce them, and basically eliminate the IED as a threat to us. The total elimination of that is impossible.
Our casualties were the highest in the first 90 days and the last 90 days of the deployment.
Roger, I'm waiting on Lima to get some force security on this side of that minefield. Roger.
Right outside the wire, we started taking, our lead vehicle was my vehicle, started taking contact. To the right of me, there was a dirt road. Maybe like 200 meters down the road, he told me to stop. There could be a possible sniper there. So he told me to hit reverse and start going back. That's when the IED blew up.
Post blast, I was briefly knocked out. I came to sitting on the bench of the striker. Looked down to start assessing what happened to me, because with that violent of an explosion, you know something happened. And I looked down, and my right leg was there, most of it, some of it. I still had my knee, but from pretty much the knee down, the flesh was gone. So I immediately started doing what we've trained to do, you know. I reached for my first tourniquet, grabbed it. It was in the lower pocket of my left AC pant leg. Opened it up, threaded the tib through, got it up above the knee, tightened down as best I could. My arm was pretty messed up. I took some shrapnel to my upper arm, and so I did what I could to stop the bleeding as much as possible.
I don't remember hearing the blast. I just remember seeing in front of my striker just shake, and it kind of jumped up, and a bunch of dust and a white light just pretty much appeared. My hatch was pretty much blown open. It was already open. I grabbed a hold of the hatch, and I pulled myself up, and I started running on top of the striker towards the back to the hatch. I just went under the striker to see pretty much what was going on.
Not long after I secured my tourniquet, Specialist Oropeza popped down and kind of tried to figure out what was going on with me, and I told him, I was like, hey, Oropeza, I got a tourniquet on, but my arm's messed up. I need another one.
Right away I grabbed a tourniquet, and I pretty much grabbed his hands, and I put it around the tourniquet, and I told him to hold it there. So what I did was I grabbed my weapon, I changed mags, and I jumped outside the striker. I knew the enemy was still there because I was firing from him a couple minutes ago. I just picked up my weapon and started engaging him.
There's naturally brave guys, don't get me wrong. You know, bravery is out there. It's a physical trait, as well as cowardness. But fear is a reaction. It's not a trait in someone. Everyone fears. Courage is just, you know, doing it in response to fear.
Before I even ran, I actually looked down that dirt road, and I was like, I'm not gonna run down that dirt road. Pretty much what made me go down that road was just hearing the cries and hearing them ask for help. I was gonna do whatever it takes to get them help, so I pretty much got some guts and just jumped over that striker and just started running.
Because he had no communications devices, they were all destroyed, and he couldn't tell the rest of his platoon what was going on. He moved on foot under direct fire for about 100 meters until he got to the vehicle and could talk to his platoon sergeant.
I don't know how much time elapsed, but I heard another striker pull up behind my truck. So we get loaded in a striker. Well, finally they come over and say they've got birds inbound. Stuck me with another IV. Helicopters came in, touched down, got loaded up in the bird, and lifted off.
Nothing really prepares you for people, you know, that are casualties, whether it's, you know, wounded or they get killed. You know, you can prepare yourself mentally when it comes down to it. You know, that's a life. You know, that's a human life that's never gonna come back. And you know, the only thing that gets you, you know, that can get you through it is knowing that you have to keep going.
Kept on moving on. I couldn't complain because that was like Sergeant Lee missing a leg. I couldn't just be like, oh, I'm not gonna do this no more. I couldn't. I was thanking God for helping me, and I still had these legs, and I was pretty much good to go. I was gonna continue fighting. It's true, you know, keep up the fire, keep on going.
Sometimes when the mission is difficult and the job is hard, morale can be supported by positive living conditions. For us, it was exactly the opposite. The living conditions, the food conditions, the ability to contact home, all of that were so atrocious. But they were making success in the mission. That's what increased morale. So morale was high from the mission in spite of the living conditions.
When we hit ground and we flipped that system on from day one, it was like, I don't want to do a mission without this. This is just as important as my weapon, as my nods. The ability to provide situational awareness on a battlefield, and especially a battlefield of today where it's unconventional warfare, you can't replace that. It's irreplaceable.
Get it? We don't get lost. Okay, it cuts down the mission planning time, the mission execution time, because you don't have to stop and look at things, maps, and you don't have to talk on the radio as much. You can see where you're going, you can see what you're doing. It makes us faster, more lethal, and it gives, leaders that a team leader and up level confidence in what they're doing.
One of our first combat situations, one of our platoons was in contact. They were having an ambush, and the squad leader had positioned his forces. And immediately, when they set in their position, they were attacked by a numerically superior force. And because of the land warrior system, the squad leader was able to give digital commands to his team leaders, who were separated by outside of direct vision what they were, and they were able to effectively engage in an ambush position, basically kill or wound 19 of the 25 personnel that we identified. And it was because of the technology, and we hadn't realized. It took us to the next level.
In an asymmetrical fight where there is not a linear direction of advance, it's phenomenally useful. I mean, it's great for being able to track where people are and understanding the situation, developing the demographics, and understand your environment a lot better.
There were a lot of things that we suggested to the engineers that hey, we need to have some ability to mark things, and it's going to make us money, and it did. And they, all of a sudden, bam, they came up with it. And that's really how we operated. We used those marking tools all the time. All the time.
The glow sticks that you buy in the hardware stores, we took that technology and made it virtual. And we're able to quickly, when a situation arises, we're able to quickly drop those chem lights, which have certain meanings, and attack the enemy.
I'm going to toot my own horn here. That was actually my idea. But the chem light, it's a visual signal. I just thought that we should take it to the next level. We've got verbal communications, we've got visual communications, and we have digital communications. I can see in my heads-up display what's going on around the battlefield. But I'm still looking with my naked eye for that chem light, or for a verbal call over the radio, or a face-to-face with the leader on the ground. The next logical step, in my opinion, was just to start marking digitally on our maps.